Hey everyone, welcome to the squad. This is the Park Squad Pod, a podcast where four friends catch up and chat about all things Disney, day to day life, and more. My name is Haley, and I'm your host for today's episode, and I'm here with the rest of the squad.
I'm Tommy.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Heidi.
Welcome to episode 15. Today we are ranking Animal Kingdom attractions. So I would say rides, but there's only, I think, 8 rides in Animal Kingdom. So it's a little limited. So I had to open it up kind of to attractions.
Yep.
So we'll be giving, if you've watched our previous episodes, we've done them before. We'll be giving a gut reaction between 0 and 100. There have been zeros. I don't know if there's been very many 100s so far. Maybe one from Brandon.
I think someone gave Cosmic Rewind 100.
You did, yeah.
Heidi did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Heidi has both ends of the spectrum. She I think, has given out a 0 and given out a 100.
And I think I gave out. Did we do Studios?
Yeah. You might have given Fantasmic 100 or Tower or something.
Tower. I don't know. Those feel like vibes.
Yeah.
That give 100.
Yeah.
I'm generous.
So now we'll be going through Animal Kingdom to see if any warrant 100.
Yeah, our last one.
Or if any warrant a 0. Yeah, this is the final, unless we wanted to do water parks.
Yeah,
this is the last of the 4.
I'd be handing out a lot of 50s because I don't know which one's which.
Same. And I feel like we'll have to do a Disneyland DCA, of course, after we come back.
Yeah.
That'll be fun, I feel.
Yeah, we'll have to make a list and make sure we try and get through like everything while we're out there so that we can come back and properly rank it.
Yeah.
Where I feel like Disney World is so hard to get through every attraction. Disneyland, I think, is a more attainable goal.
And like the stuff we haven't done, it's like, yeah, whatever. Give it a 35 and let's keep it moving. Like it's not, and there's no big things that we're missing, I feel like.
Yeah, true.
All right. So how I organize this is I'm taking us around the park going clockwise. So when you come into the park, it starts in Discovery Island. There's only one attraction in Discovery Island, and it is Tough to Be a Bug. Do we want to go in order? Tommy, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first.
So Tommy, Brandon, Heidi, me?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 6.
I'm going to give it a 40.
I'll give it a 20.
5, only because it's in the Tree of Life. This is one that if I never do again, I will die a happy woman.
I think I would like it now a little bit more, but I've only done it like once or twice as a kid and I hated it. I couldn't stand it. It made me super uncomfortable. I was like really on edge the entire time and had a really, really bad experience. Where I think if I were to go right now, I would at least like get some fun out of it. So I think it would be higher, but I haven't done it since I was like a small child. So
yeah, I was going to say, kind of going off your point, Tommy, I felt the same way about it where I felt like I didn't like it because I think I was listening to like what other people were saying about it. And then on our last trip, we did it once and I was like, this is hilarious. Like, it's actually so like I can see why people would be scared of it. And like, it makes it funny to me. Like, I'm like, this is so funny that like at the end, like it's like actually scary and like to watch people's reactions is like funny. So that's why I gave it a 20, but
that's why that I think I honestly probably could have rated this higher than a 40 for myself because the last few times that I've done it, I howl laughing and not like, but just everybody who's in there is afraid. And it is very
scary,
like, it's like the old school, like it shows like old black and white clips of like people squashing ants and like a bug spray and like a fly swatter and like the Hopper animatronic is cool. Yeah. I think that it fits very well in the Tree of Life. And if the rumored things are true of Zootopia coming there, I don't know how I feel about that, but I feel like this fits well inside of the tree, like being kind of shrunken down to like the bug. But I do think that it is hilarious as an adult person going in with either adults who are afraid or seeing people be afraid. But I could see how this is a kid's worst nightmare.
And
like this is just
like not people or,
I think this comes with a lot of trauma for me. I think like as a child, it literally traumatized me.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever been on this ride.
No.
And I
don't want to now though.
I don't think I've probably
talked into it. Maybe I'll put my ranking up. Yeah.
I feel like that too now because I don't think I've been on this ride since I was maybe 12. That might be being generous.
I was younger than that. Yeah, I was probably like 7. I didn't like 3D very much at the time, and I definitely was overwhelmed by all of the stuff that it throws at you. But I could see it being kind of appealing and like coming out the other end being like, oh, I don't know, I kind of like it.
The minute like air was shot onto my legs and butt and like the stink in there, that's like I like crossed it off my list for my whole life. But I do think that now that like hearing your guys' opinion of it, I feel like it's something that I have to retry again before it does go away.
Yeah, like that sequence with the bug killing, I remember it being so like viscerally upsetting as a child. But I think it's one of those things where once you've kind of your brain has developed a little bit more, you can appreciate like the humor behind it.
I think that when you guys come down, if you both come, this has to be one that please wait for me to come with you because I would just die laughing. I think that it's so funny. And I do think that the animatronic, like I said, is awesome. Like
Yeah,
he
it is
comes
really
out, he
cool.
moves really well. And it's just so like that whole part where he's like,
Well, and
you're gonna exterminate us, we're gonna exterminate you, and then it's like a big fly swatter knocking
and
down.
everyone's
It's
like
just
actually screaming.
screaming, and it's just so funny. So I don't want to spoil a bunch of stuff for you guys
I feel like
who
you
maybe haven't
just
done it in
did.
a while. No, not that. There's a lot more that goes on. This is like overstimulating.
But in a good way.
Yeah,
If you're not scared of bugs.
I like it. I think it's
Like,
funny.
Yeah. And I agree, Brandon, that I think it fits so well.
It does.
Like for it to be like underground, like all of it makes so much sense that I think sticking something where like it doesn't take place underground doesn't do it justice, I don't think.
Yeah, and I just think that it's cool how this I think was like an OG thing, wasn't this? Like when the park opened, this was in there potentially or something like
It
that.
sounds like it, especially because it's a newer park, so it would make
Yeah.
sense that they had this technology kind
Like
of then.
ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's cool how it's a Bug's Life, which literally now that it's gone from DCA has no like representation. So I think it's
Mhm.
Yeah,
it's cool.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people forget that it exists and they lump
Oh,
it in
for
with
sure.
ants.
I kind of, yeah, I mean, yeah, I kind of forget about the movie and the ride altogether. Like, it's definitely not, it definitely gets overshadowed, I think. You
Yeah.
know, for better or for worse.
We'll do it together.
Yeah. All right. Well, now we're moving on, and it's kind of the very other end of the spectrum. So the next area that we have our land that we're going into is Pandora, and it starts off with Navi River Journey.
68.
72.
85.
72 is mine.
You like this one a lot.
Okay, I like this one
Yeah,
a
I was
lot.
gonna
I'll
say, you go
say I gave the highest rating. I gave it an 85 because of factors. I don't know. In my head, like I go back and forth of like, oh, if like, do I think about this if it works perfectly or not? But I feel like you still have to factor in the fact of like if it doesn't work perfectly and like how often, like how does that affect? So that's why I gave it an 85 because the shaman is like exceptional when it's working. Like it is worth it to just go and see that shaman for the however long 30 seconds that you can see her. And when you hear around the corner, I think that things that could make it better would obviously be if the shaman was working, but it would be cool to have like more animatronics throughout and not just like you're waiting for that shaman and then you see her and you're like, oh, this is so cool. And by the time you like get your phone out, if you've never seen her, like she's already gone. I'd love to have like a little bit more throughout, but I think it's like so peaceful and like calming and you just like sit there and it's just like cool to like take it all in and like see the little animals and stuff around. So I still give it 85 because there's room for improvement, but I do like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish there was more story with it, I
Yeah.
think. I think that it really is just like a riverboat ride
Mm-hmm.
where like you just are sitting there to enjoy the things that are happening around you and like taking in the scenery, and there's nothing to follow. So like you get to the shaman and it's cool that she's there, but if there was like a purpose or like you were going on a search for the shaman or like you like needed to go ask her something, you know what I mean? Like there
Yeah.
being some sort of reason that like you get to this amazing, and it is, I think that's why I ended up giving it as high as I did, is because the shaman carries a lot of it. That's probably 50 of the points for me. And it
Yeah.
is so beautiful. Like it's so well done, but it's just a little bit boring.
Yeah, I think if there's just like 2 more scenes with, you know, some animatronics sprinkled
Mhm.
in and like just highlighting either like a specific animal that is like kind of memorable from the movie or whatever, I think it would feel a lot like I think even you could keep it like a similar length in terms of duration of time and it would feel a lot longer because as it is right now, it really is just kind of like a leisurely stroll up until the like the final shaman animatronic at the end. And I always want to like really like this ride more than I think I do. And everything that's in there is well executed. It does just feel like it's missing something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I think that like this is one where I think the whole play on this probably in like Imagineering's eyes was something that's like to like really see the beauty of Pandora and different things about it. And I think that's probably what they did well at it. Like I just think kind of like you said, Tommy, where I feel like if there was like a little bit more or maybe just some things that were like yeah, like animatronics, like you said, or like things that maybe just add a little bit more where you're not, because I think this is like build up the ride where it's like you're waiting and waiting and waiting, and then it's the shaman and it's awesome and it was worth it then. Whereas if you don't know, I guess that it's maybe cooler to see all the stuff. But like if you got to the end and the shaman didn't work, which has happened to us a couple times,
Yeah.
I think then it's like, oh, that was just crazy that we waited for that, or that it took that long to get there, because you don't get to see the beauty of what this ride really is that it, like animatronic.
And it's so unfortunate because since there is only the one animatronic, like it does feel like a waste when you don't see her. I remember on our last trip, we only rode it one time and the animatronic didn't work. And I was like, okay, well, that was like kind of disappointing because now like I don't know when I'm going to see her again. And like I really like wanted to see her and go on that ride for like her. So I think if there was other little things, then like maybe it wouldn't be as big of a disappointment if she wasn't working.
Yeah.
And I think that Pandora is so well executed as a whole land that you get the vibe of the ride throughout the whole land. So
Right.
like where other pieces of Disney World that are like older lands they're still nicely themed, but it's not as heavily as this. So like the ride and just walking through Pandora at night almost feels exactly the same minus the shaman.
Yeah, for sure.
So true.
And it's
All
also
right.
not a $1 billion. Which
Yeah, no, not a
Hey,
$1 billion animatronic.
I always say that I have to just make sure that people know that I don't still believe that.
It looks like it was $1 billion though. It
Oh,
really is like incredible. I think it's the one where you could almost convince yourself that it's like a 12-foot woman like sitting there with her legs crossed.
Yeah, it definitely messes with your like uncanny valley perception, where it almost gets to the other side of the valley where you kind of accept it as like a living, breathing,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
It's almost like good thing it's not a human, like it's an avatar, because if it was a human, I think it would be a little bit
A
off-putting.
little too upsetting.
Yeah.
I was gonna say when she's off though, like I don't remember if I've seen a video or in person one time, and she just goes like,
It's like a
like she looks literally real. Like it's like her whole body just drops and she still sits there, but like she's just like,
Oh, you're seeing when it's not working and not covered up?
yeah.
Oh,
Like
I've never seen that.
I've seen that on a video. I
Oh,
think it was a
that's
ride
funny.
through, and she stopped working, and it just like it looks like her whole body.
Oh,
drops.
that's funny.
So
She
it's,
just goes to sleep.
yeah, very lifelike.
Interesting.
All right. Right next to that, I think, is one that I think will score a little bit higher than that, but it is the Avatar Flight of Passage.
99.
99.
100.
99.
Yeah, it's like it's so good. It's like one of those things, and I think I've said this like a handful of times. We waited like 4 hours, I think, the first time we rode it. Like we waited in the proper standby line. They had us roping all the way to the bathrooms in the Africa section over by Festival of the Lion King. Like it was like proper line. Like it went all the way and all the way back. And we rode it and we're like, oh my God, that was the coolest thing ever. I don't regret waiting in that line whatsoever. It is one of those things where it lives up to the hype and is worth every second of a wait that you might have to wait.
I only gave it a 99. One, because I get a little bit motion sick, so that's like a personal thing. But also, feel like I'm getting a little bit greedy, where I like in Star Tours where it's like kind of different scenes.
Yes.
And I think because it's like very screen based, that they could do the same thing. I think that now that we have Avatar 2 also, I think it would be really easy to incorporate new things into it. So mine, I think it is the closest ride for me, I think, to 100, but I want more. So that's where my 1 point went.
Yeah, I have to give it 100 because it's my favorite ride. I always like went back and forth with it. I'm like, I just remember the first time I ever like rode it, and it was like I felt like it just was like, whoa, like it was the first ride.
Ride it.
Yeah, you weren't able to ride it, and I didn't ride it for some time. First ride that I rode that I was like, wow, like that was actually crazy. And now every single time I ride it, like I look forward to it, and I feel like there's still a lot going on where if you like kind of look around different places, you can kind of like find different things, and it just feels like so immersive. And if you can get in like the zone where you like you're really focused and you're not like focused on like other people and can just like really immerse yourself, then I feel like it's like so fun, and I could just ride it a million times and would be happy with it.
Yeah, the only reason I gave it 99 is I think for like the 3D maybe needs to be updated, and that's like a very minor thing. Whereas like you said, Haley, I think if they did that where they added in maybe something else, I think it'd be great, like an Unreal, like an easy 100. I couldn't ride this for the longest time, and it's like because it was a bit heavier set, but also like I'm very tall, so the seats weren't the best. So that kind of combination made me not able to ride it. And then 2 years ago when we did like our VIP tour, like I felt confident to go in there and take the time to try because like I had nothing to lose because we didn't wait. And like I'm so glad that I fit in, because I feel like that people like told me that it's good, but it's whatever, like but I think that people were just being kind to me that it wasn't exceptional, because it truly is. Like if you are there and like you said, if you're in a good mindset, you lean forward and really embrace it, like it genuinely is one of the coolest experiences because it truly feels like you're flying around, and just like the sights, the smells, the breathing, like everything about it is just perfect.
Yeah, and this ride literally, like, every single time I ride it, I like literally like cry because I'm like, it just feels like you're, and I don't even like airplanes and being in the sky and stuff. Like it's like my like one of my worst like fears and stuff. But like being on there like gave me like a new like perspective of it, that like after I rode that ride, then when I was like in an airplane, I was like, okay, like just think about that, think about how I feel on it, and it's all good, like we're fine. And so like I don't know, every single time I go on it, I'm just like, this is so cool. That's my rant.
And I think that it's so good that the queue gets overlooked. Like the
Yeah.
giant Jake Sully avatar, like in the like
tube
container
thing,
is
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's like
Amazing.
Yeah.
it's so big and it looks exactly like that's like another one we talk about a lot. I feel like on this podcast that things that look like they've just been plucked directly from the movie and
Yeah.
put on the like in front of you. And that's one where I feel like that's what I miss. Like obviously I don't miss the 3-hour line when we get like a lightning lane, but it is like you don't get to see that if you go through
Yeah.
the lightning lane, and it really is a disappointment because it's so crazy. It's giant.
Yeah, and the queue is very, very immersive, and the ride itself is, you know, super easy to lose yourself in. I think a lot with the screen based rides, it's kind of easy to be like enjoy it, especially the ones at Universal, but you definitely feel like you're looking at a screen and kind of just like emulating the motions. Where it is really like if you lock in and don't look to either side, just look straight ahead. It's so easy to get sucked in. Like
Yeah.
I think I might have mentioned it on this pod before or a live or something, but like the Pandora, like a moon of like a gas giant or something in the story, and I constantly find myself just like staring at like the different swirling elements on this big planet out in the distance that is like total background, but it's so easy to kind of just get sucked in that you're just staring at every minute detail, all the different little animals, the waves, stuff like that. So
Yeah, if you are on the edge of waiting for this or paying the $15 to $25 that it costs to do an individual lightning, hopefully the four of us have just swayed you into doing it.
For sure.
I think
Yeah.
it's absolutely worth it.
And I also hate on the pre-show, but it does add to the story, and like you get your avatar, and like they do a good job of making you feel like you're being linked and doing this like rite of passage to, you know, it's
And I was gonna say, I feel like once people like go to Disney so often, they almost get like we're like too
yeah,
like,
you find things that
you
yeah.
know,
You
but
get
you're almost
jaded,
like
yeah.
I
too,
was
like,
just going to say that.
yeah, you're like almost like so like privileged about it because you're like you rode it so many times that you're like, just get me on the ride, like whatever. But like as a first timer, like
It's
I remember
cool.
the first time I went in there by myself and I was like, oh, this is so cool, like the
Yeah.
big avatar for me, and then you're like learning and you get to know the story. So
Yeah.
like I think that like so often when you go, often you can like forget
It's true.
like how people feel for their first time. So
And I think that happens to us. Like we are obviously so lucky and privileged to be able to go quite often that I think that we end up being like the podcast of haters of pre-shows. And it really is like you really do have to take a step back and say that it's just for us.
Yeah.
Like this is just purely our opinion, and it's really only because we get to do it so many times that like the pre-shows are still good. It's just this is like the most first world problem ever is that
For
we
sure.
just don't love the pre-show.
I like this pre-show. I think that guy's funny and
Yeah,
awkward
that's
and
really good.
goofy. I like this is like one of the few pre-shows where it's not the ones that like are a little bit more grating. It's like on the easier end of that, or some are a little bit tough to get through.
All right, we could talk about that forever, but we're going to move on into the next place, and it is over to Africa. And I'm going to start with what you cross over into, and it's Festival of the Lion King.
87.
88.
85.
92.
It's good.
I think it's
good, yeah.
incredible.
Very
Yeah.
good.
The last time that we did it was I think it was either the first time for me or the first time in a really, really long time.
It was right after the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was this moment where most of the characters are like one-to-one characters and they sing their songs or whatever. And the person who comes out for the Be Prepared, like Scar portion is just like not singing. And I was definitely like kind of eyeing him. I'll be like, what's this guy's deal? And then he picks up some torches. And like, I know me and Brandon were next to each other. We kind of like, sat up at our seat a little bit, like, is this dude about to fire dance? And sure enough, he starts spinning fire and breathing fire. And I was like, all right, this is awesome. I'm fully bought in. And like when you add all this stuff on top of that, it's a good time.
And I think the last time we saw it, they didn't even have, it wasn't the full show because they didn't have like the two birds doing the Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And I don't know if were the monkeys back, like the tumbling monkeys.
There when we all did it.
No, yeah. Which is why I was gonna say I gave it, I think, a lower score than everyone else. I gave it a lower score, and I want to see it with like the tumbling monkeys because I only have ever saw it once, and I saw it like not to its full
Yeah.
like abilities or containing everything. So I want to see it again because I feel like in my head, if I see it again, I'd give it a higher score because people like seem to really, really love this one.
It's good. It is. I think that it like genuinely is like a Broadway quality performance, which I love. I also just love all of like the minor details of how they get you like ready with like your section and your animals. You can see Simba and Pumbaa and Timon in there, which like any Lion King lover's dream is to see them. And they just have like really good little moments where Pumbaa's like, I'm in a parade and stuff. And it's like so funny to me. And I just think that there are so many things where they sing the songs and tell the story of a movie that you know, but they do it very different, like you said, with like the Two Birds or like the like Torch Guy and stuff.
Mhm.
I just think that it's really cool how they do like a different spin and take on it. And I do think that it is one of those things that you look at rides and you think that I can skip the shows and stuff. I think that this is a show that you should not skip. I think it's very, very good.
And the costuming is incredible. Like Brandon said, like it is because I've seen Lion King on Broadway, like in
Ooh.
Manhattan.
Wow.
And it is, I think it rivals it. I think that this one's a little bit more fun because you're so close. Like this
Yeah.
is the closest you will ever get to a performance of this caliber, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's top tier.
Yeah, we'll have to go and compare now.
Yeah.
It's good. Tumble Monkeys.
All right.
Mhm.
The next place that we're going to is one of my favorites, and it is Kilimanjaro Safaris.
92.
92.
Oh, my turn. 99. I was
Yeah.
thinking.
98. This one I think it's a good first stop in the morning, or you rope drop something and then you go right to here because all of the animals are waking up and it's just feeding time and things like that. But this is one where I feel like we talk a lot about, like, especially in the last episode, that like Brandon's like not nostalgic for a lot of things. I'm a little bit nostalgic for like the poacher
I was gonna say
storyline
I
of
think
this.
that is like you can feel that missing a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that the only reason I didn't give it a 100 is because sometimes your like safari driver
Mhm.
is not like is a little bit dry. Like I get that it's not supposed to be Jungle Cruise, but sometimes it's just like I know the animals that I see and like that's what I want to hear about, and then like they just don't say it, or like there's like no fun in their voice, like it's kind of like monotoned
Very
and it
informational.
changes it a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely does like switch up on the person that you have and the people that you have. You can either be like exceptional or it could like take you out of it a little bit. I think this is one of those. And yeah, I think I gave it a 99. Like, I don't really know why I gave it a 99. I think that it almost is at 100, but I guess I give it a 99 for that like reason of like kind of like the skipper and the safari. What is the safari guide? Like what am
Yeah, like I don't know.
what are they
Yeah,
called?
I guess
Safari driver?
Safari driver.
Safari
Yeah.
driver?
Guy.
There's definitely a name.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They say
We don't-
Jumbo. I'm
Safari. Like an expedition leader. No, I don't
No.
know.
This is crazy. Anyways, whatever they are.
We'll
Tracy
talk-
can let us know.
We'll be
in
talking
the
about
comments.
Nemo and I'll
I'm trying to
exclaim
think
it.
of
Yeah.
That's wild. But
Yeah.
anyways, they can kind of take you out a little bit. But I will say this is like the most like Animal Kingdom thing. Like
It
it is
is.
so cool. And it's the closest thing that you will get to like to an actual safari. Like in, like
Yeah,
not-
realistically,
yeah,
not.
a realistic
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's so cool. And some people will like say like, oh, it stinks when like the animals aren't like you don't see a lot of animals or stuff. But like I kind of disagree with that because I think that's the whole point is like these are real animals and it's like you can't control them and it's not like it's almost cool to see because every single time you get something different. And even if it's like a lower day, then it's like that's okay. The animals are just having a more chill day.
And I think it shows that it's not a zoo. It's
Yeah.
Yes.
very much a conservation
Yeah.
effort. And they are like, they live on their own time, other than like, obviously, them like opening up if they sleep different places and like feeding them. But they are allowed to do what they want. They are not like lured out into like your entertainment. They are not there for us.
Yeah.
We're there for them.
Yeah. The only like negative things that I have is I don't fit very well, I feel like, in the thing with a bunch of people. So for me, it's like not always like the best when it's hot and I feel like I'm not comfortable, but I do think that it is pretty close to perfect. The only other issue, like I said, which we've all said, is if you get someone who's maybe not fully into it, like we had someone, I don't want to slander anybody, but like coughing into the mic or just like sneezing. And like, I know that you can turn it off, but it just kind of took me out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
So for me, I just think that
We were still able
this,
to laugh about it.
yes,
in the moment.
this though has very high highs. And I feel like Animal Kingdom as a whole is like the embodiment of this, where like there's very high highs. So I think that this is just a very fitting thing. And I think that like it not being the same every time makes it very rewritable. Like I would do it like every time, even if it is just like the same route, but there could be different stuff that you see. And I think that makes you coming back every time. And like you could go in the morning, at night, like it'll all be different because of the different times of the day. Like Haley said, like it's not planned and isn't a zoo where they're placed there. It's just they can be where they want to be.
And I also love how it's like they talk about the different animals and stuff because I find that interesting. But also I think like for kids and stuff, like I would have loved this like as a little kid. Like I was super into like animals and stuff to like go in here and then like tell like facts about them, and then they like encourage you to like look up your favorite animals and like think about like conservation and how you can like help and stuff. I think it's like it's a really nice way that they can like put the message across and like encourage like younger people or older people, whoever's on it, to like actually like be passionate about like wildlife and animals and like the earth and stuff. Which is
now they have all of those shows on Disney Plus that you can see the animals that you can see in the safari,
which is so cool.
Like
that show's excellent. Yeah,
you can see the baby rhino or the baby elephant that's being born and how they take care of them and brush their teeth. And then when you're riding through, like if you watch that with your kids, then you can see them in the ride.
Wow,
that's awesome. Yeah,
I feel like this one's got a really high floor, even with like all the unpredictability with the animals. Like I feel like no matter what you're gonna ride, like with Navi River Journey, like we talked about, like if the shaman's down, it's kind of like a bummer of a ride.
Yes.
Or this one, even if it's like a rainy day or a quieter day, you're still gonna have like an interesting time, regardless.
And like Brandon said, I think it's the only ride that we've ever done like twice in one day that's not like a throw ride like Everest.
Yes.
Like you can go on in the morning, go on at night, go on in the afternoon, like anytime that there's not a long line, and it's totally worth it.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the next one is a bit of a wild one. It's not wild. It's a bit. The name is wild. It's a bit of a stretch, I think, as far as a attraction goes. But it is the Wildlife Express train, and I think it's that train that brings you up to Rafiki's Planet Watch.
58.
48.
50.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like kind of fun. You get on a train and it takes you away from the park. It takes you to a different location. It's obviously just a train, so it's nothing like too crazy, but I don't know. I like whenever we ride, it's kind of a nice little adventure.
And I think it's something that I don't even know that I knew it was there. I don't think I went to Rafiki's Planet Watch until maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's like a hidden gem, like something that you get to like find that's new to you in Disney World. And like you said, like just hop on the train, go for a little lush green ride up to the Planet Watch.
Yeah, I haven't got to do this yet, and I really, really want to. We were like planning on doing it on the last trip, but then it just didn't work out. I guess I don't remember why. But I think that after I go, then I might rate it higher. Like, but that's like actually like Rafiki. We're just talking about the train, so I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like again, which I'm sure that we'll touch on with the actual place that you get to, but I think that like a train is cool, through Animal Kingdom's cool, and I feel like that we don't do this really ever, if not enough. So hopefully we'll get to do it more, or try it out.
The next one that I have is Rafiki's Planet Watch. So this is where the train will drop you off at the top.
68.
52.
80.
75.
I haven't done this, but I think I will really like it. So
I think you will.
Usually I rate things low if I haven't done it, and they're like indifferent. But I've heard positive things about this, and I just think it'll be up my alley.
Yeah, I think that the problem with me, I think that I'm such a go person that I feel bad to do something that's a slower pace thing. But I feel like now that we go more often, I feel like that it would be worth it to do. I'm not a good drawer, which I know that you can do up there. And they also have like a petting zoo and stuff. So I feel like that it would be worth checking out. I just think that people don't really know it's there or have interest because they're so go. Like, I think if you could look at it and say, would we rather knock out all the rides and park hop somewhere else versus knock out rides and go to the Planet Watch, I think that people would pick the first one. So hopefully we'll get to do it and I'll get to try it out and see who I can draw and pet some goats or something.
Yeah, we've never actually done the like animation
experience.
Whatever it is up there. Because we always get our timing bad. Like it's always that it's done because there's only certain hours. So if you want to do it, you definitely have to make sure you go early. But I rated it as high as I did because there is a petting zoo and you can pet goats. Yeah, which is, I mean, should be like 100.
The petting zoo is nice. And to Brandon's point about it being like not go. I think one of the times that we did this was one of our last days of the trip. So we had like a few hours in the parks and then we had to go home. And this was perfect for that because it was a nice change of pace. It was relaxing. Yeah. We didn't have to rush anywhere. We didn't have any significant time constraints. We just got on the train, rode over, pet some goats, looked around. They have almost like a little laboratory where they like kind of talk
Mhm.
about some of like the animal like medical science and stuff like that they're doing. So it's a little
Yeah.
educational and stuff like that, but it was just a nice calming, hour or so.
And
Go
like,
ahead.
sorry, to both of your points, I think that even though it's not go, go, go for, like you said, our last couple hours, we don't want to spend them waiting in a line. So
Right.
where like you can actually do something
Yeah.
and get to experience something for 35 minutes instead of waiting in a line and going on a 40-second ride.
Yeah.
I think that it's like a good use of your time if you are kind of on like a time constraint because you get
Yeah.
to actually do something instead of just wait.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I always feel like this place in my head is like I feel like once like if you go there with like a very little child where like you can't necessarily go on all the rides, this would be like a place where it's like you go, you can see the animals, and it's like you can go and like do the art for like if your kid's sleeping, and like it's like it just seems like almost like chill vibes, like
Well,
I don't
and,
know, it's
like,
something different.
yeah, like, and I think for you would love to see like a procedure, like,
my
or whatever they
goodness,
do, where
yeah.
they have like the place where you can kind of see behind the scenes if there's anything going on, which I know it's like random that they could have something
I
going
would
on,
like
it could
sit
not.
there all day.
But I think it'd be cool for you to see that kind of behind the scenes because I think anybody loves behind the scenes stuff.
It's
So to
cool.
kind of see that kind of side, I think I don't know how often like they do that, but I think that'd be cool.
And if I'm not mistaken, there's like a little like stage where they'll like bring animals out sometimes, I think. Because
think so, yeah.
I think I remember doing that when I was like a child, like a little child. There's like little like almost like stumps that you can sit on. And then there's
Oh.
like a little stage
That's
where
cool.
people, and I think that might be random 2 times that they can bring out animals
Yeah,
and
like
show
let you
you.
hold a snake or whatever.
Yeah.
Love it.
And then there's obviously a gift shop up there. And I think sometimes it has some cuter things. Like it had all of the baby animals when that was like a thing, when they were like
Aw.
in like a little blanket. It was like all of the animals, like
Yeah.
baby versions of them. It was so cute.
Love that.
All right. So that closed out Africa. And now we are moving on into Asia. And the first thing you get to is feathered friends in flight.
61.
45.
60.
2. Birds
Yeah, I was gonna say,
freak
do I start
me
out?
out. I don't know if you guys know that about me.
Oh yeah.
Birds are so scary to me. I think they're so unpredictable. They can just pluck your eyes out. I just don't trust them one bit. I can't do it. I don't like when they do that, like in the near the tree of life in the beginning,
Yeah.
when they do that thing where they call the parrots.
Like
It's
the
absolutely
flyover.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
That's a fair rating for you then, Haley.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I think we've only done this once, and when we did it, it used to be like didn't like Doug and
It was
Russell come
up, which I
Yeah,
like.
it's
which I-
disrespectful that they themed it to
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, so I'm ranking it
But-
based on that because that's the only thing that like I've done, which I guess is not really like appropriate ranking. But I remembered I liked it.
I think I like it better as up than normal because I think like I'm that target demo to add something Disney, and I think that it's more fun.
Mhm.
And I feel like even if it maybe doesn't fit perfectly with up, I'm so sorry, Haley, because you love
No,
it.
I think it's disrespectful because I don't want to go to it, and
Oh,
it's
I
the only
understand.
up themed attraction.
They're
Yeah.
trying to lure you in.
They are
For
luring
sure.
me
Like,
in
"Come on."
with
I just think
little.
that it's better that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Did we
that's
see it without the up?
I've seen it without the up, and I don't think it's the same. Like I miss when they have those little like it's like a totem statue outside of like
Yeah.
like Doug and Russell, and it was kind of more themed that way. I
That's
think
as far as
that
I'll go towards that attraction.
Yeah, this is one of the ones where like if she's doing something like getting a water or a snack from like another like a nearby stand, I'll go over and kind of peek my
Yeah.
head over and like watch some of the show because I know that she doesn't enjoy it and doesn't like being around the birds. That being said, it's not something where I've like gone on my own and be like, I really want to do the 210,
Yeah.
feathered friends in flight show. So I can't give it too high. But it is something that I think is cool. And it's like a really good integration of like theme park with animals, right? So it's kind of like a way to combine the two goals of Animal Kingdom, which is, conservation and also, getting people to do stuff at the park. So.
And I think, and like, I'm happy for everybody else. Like, that's something that like, I don't want it removed from the park because I'm happy and it's enclosed. Like there's like a gate kind of
Yeah.
thing where keep them in there. But I think that it's cool that it can show like how trainable birds are because obviously they're not like these birds could potentially fly away. Like there's nothing that's keeping them there.
Yeah.
But I
Mhm.
think it's cool that it's showing them like all of these tricks that they can do, which I think is cool. But it's just not my cup of tea.
They could fly away. They could attack.
They could poke your
brown-haired
What's
park
your-
guest that day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what's your least favorite bird, and why is it those ones with the the long
No,
that
those
walk and
ones
get
I
your food
don't
home
mind
from
as much
Waterloo?
because they're more predictable. They're on the ground and they just want your French fries. It's the little bitty ones that are so fast in the sky that really get to me. Like, I think there's one part in here where it's like the birds and butterfly kind of room, and it's like that one is
Yeah.
enclosed. Like, there's like the
Yeah.
Oh,
net
yeah.
on the top.
There's
It's the worst part.
darting
It's
past.
yes, that one is so scary to me. I don't know. It's the one thing I can't get
Yeah.
over, but we have to go away from that.
Yeah.
And next we're going over to Cali River Rapids.
71.
75.
80.
50.
This was fun.
It's
It had
fun.
been a while, and then the three of us. I think you sat it out.
I
right?
did sit out.
We
Haley
did it,
sat
yeah.
I
out.
sat with Uncle Kevin.
And the rest of us, the three other of us went, and I had a good time. I know it used to be a little bit more explicitly like anti-deforestation
Mhm.
Yeah.
themed, and I like that a lot because there was a sequence where there was like a oil tanker and there's some fire, and I thought that added some nice like pizzazz and variety to what is otherwise kind of a standard water rapids ride. But it was a good time. You get wet, it's fun. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that like anything that's like a different like variety, I feel like a water ride is fun. And I think if you catch me on a good time that I want to do it, I'll do it. I don't always do it, but I think my last like recollection was all of us doing it, like, and it was a good time and I had a great time with it.
Yeah, I personally like love a water ride, and I find that like it I can see why people don't, because like if you're gonna get wet, and then you're gonna be whatever. But I feel like if any place, Florida is a place that like you can dry up quick. And I usually am wearing like a t-shirt and athletic clothes. Like I don't usually go in like nicer clothes, so like I don't really care if I get wet. I will say the thing that I would change about this ride is making it like having more than just like that one big drop, because I feel like at one point you're kind of like waiting and
Yeah.
anticipating the drop, and then the drop happens and you're kind of like, oh, it's done. So like maybe some like extra like areas where there's like more waterfalls where you could like potentially get wet, or like more different scenes would make it better for me. But still
Yeah.
good.
This is one that I need the stars to align correctly for me
Yeah.
to go on, because I do want to go on it again, but like, and this sounds like so, I don't know, not good for me. But like a lot of the times before we go to the parks, like I straighten my hair because I have really curly hair. And if I
You
go
have
on
to do
that,
that
then like
Yeah.
all of that work that actually
Yeah.
takes me so long is like ruined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times I wear jean shorts to the park, and there's nothing worse than like wet chafing jean shorts.
Yeah.
So I think that like it needs to be like a time when we're like ready to go back to the resort almost, and then I can go on it because I can go home and like kind
Yeah.
of refresh.
Yeah.
Or, and this sounds like backwards, but like on like an already rainy day, because you're
Yeah.
already kind of wet, like it's
Yeah.
kind of all compromised already. But it's just so hard for me because I really do think it will like, no pun intended, put like a damper on like my
You would have to like
the whole
fully,
day.
you'd have to fully regroup after the fact. And
Yeah.
if you had a whole
Yes.
day ahead of you, that would not be fun. So I definitely,
right.
I think that's
like it's
totally
different
reasonable.
with like short hair and like athletic shorts.
Yeah,
Then
I'm dry in like 25 minutes and I'm
Yeah.
good to go.
Yeah, for sure.
My biggest memory of this was my mom wore capri jeans, got
Oh,
soaked,
boy.
and then had to go behind the counter because she wanted to try on some like sweatpants at Disney, wore them in the change room, and said to the woman, I'm just going to wear them out. And she had to go behind the counter and
To
stand there with
scan
a
the-
little tag and have them take it off. And it's like, oh, this is just like so embarrassing. And she made me go buy this like Hercules shirt that I still have that says I'd flex, but I like this shirt because all my clothes was wet. So yeah,
Amazing.
But it's better than walking around in jean
Better than
capris
wet.
that are
Oh,
wet
yeah.
all day.
yeah.
Yeah.
Random getting wet, buying replacement clothes related story.
Yeah.
When I was a child at the Philadelphia Zoo, we were all looking at the hippo enclosure, and a hippo spit like a plume of water, and everyone else left, including my loving father, and just left me there. And I just got totally drenched by this, like, like the moving fountains over by Figment. It was like
Yeah.
that times, I don't know, like 50,000. It was like, yeah, like gallons of water pouring on me. It's like a core memory that I don't have. I have no idea how it happened, but I got a nice Philadelphia Zoo gecko t-shirt for my troubles.
Hilarious.
Oh goodness. All right. After that, this one is another one that I was kind of like on the fence if I needed to classify as an attraction or not, but I think it's the best one of its sort, and it's the Maharaja Jungle Trek.
74.
76.
95.
85.
Yeah, I was between, I could have gotten anywhere from 74
too.
all the way to like 88 or
I
something.
think
too.
this one is one that people don't really know about. and they think that it's just like one little thing. Like I think that they think maybe you can see the tigers and that's it. But there is so much, and it's like if you go, like there's like water buffalo and all of these animals that you don't even know are in this park for you to see, I think. And I think it's worth the time.
Yeah, I think this is like the whole, again, I feel like Animal Kingdom's just such a different park than all the other ones. And like the whole point of Animal Kingdom is like the animals and everything. And so I feel like I have to rate it high because it's like, it's the whole point. And I also think it's underrated that like sometimes people, if you don't go to Disney or you don't do research, you might not even know like that all this stuff is out there to see. And so I think it's a nice change of pace for people who go often, or if people just need like a change of pace and aren't go to like go and appreciate it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm kind of in the same camp as Tommy, where like I could have rated this higher than what I did, but I just think I don't appreciate it enough every trip because I feel like I'm so go. Like, and I said this before, I feel like that this is like along the lines of like a Planet Watch, where if your goal of Animal Kingdom is to ride the rides and park hop somewhere else, then you wouldn't do this. But was this where we saw like the baby gorillas and stuff? Is this the same trail?
No,
or
It's
it's a different
technically
one?
Gorilla Falls or something.
Yeah,
but
that
it's,
one
it's like
is-
kind of
The
connected.
Maharaja
I consider
Jungle
them the
Trek
same.
starts, and there's like tigers that you can see. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
glass on both sides, and there's like tigers on the left, and like I think it's like a really well themed area because it's in Asia and it has all of that old architecture that like looks crumbling, and then it has like the older flags, and it is like really serene. So I don't
Yeah.
think it technically connects to Gorilla
I think
Falls.
it's like right next to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a hard time conceptualizing
Me too,
Maharaja
yeah.
Jungle Trek. I know that we've done it. I just like, I don't know, I can't picture it in my head very vividly.
Yeah, I think there's like 4 or 5 different like little trek parts, like Gorilla Falls and this one. And then I think there's a few more that, like Heidi said, if you don't know that they exist,
Yeah.
you could think the only animals that you could see like kind of like in the wild there are the
Mhm.
ones on the safari, or like right when you walk in, there's like those couple that you can see.
The birds and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, yeah, like the anteaters or whatever that you
Mhm.
can see. But there's so much more. I think that that's why I think that this park gets a bad rep for being a half day park. And it's only if you ignore all of the other things. But when
Yeah.
I was going to make this list, I went on like the Disney World app and I was looking at attractions because I was like, well, I can't just do rides. So I can't look
Yeah.
at wait times. And then I went to attractions. There must be 100.
Yeah.
Like it is, I was scrolling for days and I was only in A still.
Oh,
Like
wow.
there's
Crazy.
so many different parts,
Every
different
animal
animals that you can
find,
see and find. Like, did you know that there were bats that you could see? Like there's
No, yeah.
flamingos, there's gibbons, giraffes, Gorilla Falls.
Crazy.
So I feel like there's so much stuff that you don't know exists.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's the best walking around park. Like I know
Agree.
that that's probably
Agree.
not a super popular opinion across the internet, but I think if there's like one place where you can't sit down, you can't wait in line for anything, you just get to walk around and maybe you get a popcorn for your troubles. I feel like Animal Kingdom can't be beat.
And this one, and I want to talk about this like at the end of it, has the experiences that are on the top of my bucket list to check off some of them. But
Mhm.
we can do that when we're all done everything else.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So after the Jungle Trek, the last one I have for Asia is Expedition Everest: Legend of the Forbidden Mountain.
93.
94.
85.
80.
I think
I only
it's
went
so
this
good.
one because it makes me a little bit sick.
Yeah, I can see that.
You guys wrote it again and again and again and
Yeah.
again, and I had to tap out.
3 times.
It's just so good. I feel like, yes, is it a bit like jerky and rickety? Yes.
Mhm.
Is that why that I love it? Yes. Do I love when I feel like I'm being sucked in a vortex going backwards? Yes. Do I love the disco Yeti that doesn't work? Yes. I just love everything about it. I think it's very themed well, and I like, which I'm like a big IP person, I like how this fits, and it's not a movie, it's just a mountain and a Yeti and a train going through. I think it's done very well, and it fits again very well with Animal Kingdom. I feel like it's just such a perfect themed thing for Asia in that area. Like you really notice it, and it's a good ride. Like it's a long enough ride. I like that it goes backwards. I like that it's fast. I just like almost everything about it, except for at the end when you get slammed in and stuff. Like there are times where it's not perfect, but I do think it is really good.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I rated it what I did because like did the Yeti used to move?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It used to
Yeah.
like
It used to
really
come
come
out.
at you. It would,
Like,
like
I would-
slide down and reach, I think.
I would love to see that, so that's why I rated it that value. But I will say that it's a good thrill ride. I like the queue, and also I really like how like you can catch this ride when it's not busy and it's just a
Yeah.
walk on, like quite often. Like
Quite
we
often.
never really wait for it, and I think for being such a good ride, it's nice that like the wait isn't always that long.
Yeah.
Which shouldn't factor into the ride thing, but I just wanted to point that out too.
Well, when I went to look at it at 6:00 today, it was a 10-minute wait,
Yeah,
Crazy.
that's
which is
wild.
unless it's pouring rain in Orlando right now, that is such a crazy short line for a ride like this.
Yeah, I just think like at the end of the day, it's just like a really excellent roller coaster. Like the beginning section before you kind of make the ascent is like just as good as Seven Dwarfs. Really, like it's kind of a similar aesthetic. Like I think it's just as like kind of turny and fun. And then you go backwards and like that when you stop at the top and you see like the broken
And all the hair ties.
yeah
The
yeah.
ripped tracks.
Yeah, the
and all
rip
hair
tracks.
ties.
Tracks is the word I was looking for. And then you go backwards. That's like one of the best kind of like ride specific moments, like pound for pound at Walt Disney World. So
And
it's just a ton of fun.
And I feel like it's underrated too. Like this would be underrated to ride for the first time if you didn't know what was
Be so
happening.
fun.
Like you would get up there and you'd be like, wait, what? And then it's like, and then you go through and it's so dark and then you see the Yeti. Like I feel like this is one that people forget like how kind of fun and cool it actually could be. Because like people talk about it so often, but like ride it so often that like for someone who's never been to Disney, I think that they would actually really like this one if they like a thrill ride and never have seen it before.
Yeah, I think this has one of the best tracks of any ride. Like you were comparing it to Seven Dwarfs. I think this blows that out of the water.
Agreed.
Like I think this
Yeah.
is so much better than that.
Yeah.
And it's just my personal
Aversion.
Yeah, it's just my inner ear that keeps me from loving it as much as I want to. But this is another one where like that part where you're going back, like I know we talk about like the memories of all four of us, but the trip, I think this was like maybe the first ride we went on, the four of us, like when we met that first time. And so like it's like me and Heidi and then Brandon and Tommy. And so I have like pictures of the four of us and a video of us going backwards. And it's like one of those things that like sticks in my memory for this ride like forever.
So fun.
So the next place we have to go is kind of like in no man's land. It's between Asia, but it's not yet in Dino Land. And it's Finding Nemo, The Big Blue and Beyond.
42.
48.
Wait, what's Finding Nemo on the Big Blue Beyond?
The like
The
musical
show.
show.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's a new show.
Yeah, I saw it. 20.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 40 just because I haven't seen this new one. And I don't know that it's as good as the one that left.
I don't even remember the old one that much. I
Me
don't think.
neither at all. I feel like that I compare it to Festival of the Lion King, and I feel like I think that it's really grand and it has good set pieces and good costumes. It's a good big theater, but I just think that some of the songs are kind of like no, like they're just not as good, and I feel like it's because they're like original songs that maybe you don't connect to them like as much. And I just think I don't connect to Finding Nemo as one of my favorite things. So it's just not something that we do often. We did it one time with Uncle Kevin. That was our most recent time, I think, doing it.
Yeah.
And it was the first time when they brought back the new version, like, and it was updated. So I don't know the old version, like you had said, Tommy, but like it's just not something that I think we do and that I would feel a need to go sit and do. I would find other like I would rather walk like an animal trail than go watch it, if that makes sense.
I think people either love or they don't love.
I agree.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, I think there's people who like really, really love it, and I'm a person who like actually really likes like musicals and plays and stuff. But I think for some reason this was one where when we were watching it, I was kind of like ready for it to end, which is like I don't know if it just felt too long, like if some of the songs maybe were too long and felt like they were kind of dragged out. The actual set pieces and stuff are like super
and the
beautiful.
Performers are good.
And the performers are good. I don't know what it is. It's just like maybe, like you said, for me, maybe I didn't connect with like all of the story. Like
like I don't know.
I know how long it is. Like
no, but like
I don't know.
It tells the whole story of like the movie. Like it does everything from like Nemo being taken, the goggles, like meeting Dory, all the sharks, like Crush is there. Like it is very grand, and I think that you should check it out because you could very well love it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of in the middle for me, where of the shows, I don't think for me it's my favorite, and that I would feel the need to do it in terms of all the shows across Walt Disney World.
Yeah, and I will say maybe too, it's because like for me, I like the other stuff of Animal Kingdom of like exploring and walking. So I feel like I'm good to do this once. And if people wanted to do it, I would go. But there would be like other things that I'd rather spend my time doing than that.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I would give a try the next time we're in Animal Kingdom. But yeah, I could definitely see it being like not as charming as Frozen and not as spectacular as The Lion King, and
Yeah.
just kind of leaving being like, that was like a fine way to spend 30 to 45 minutes or however long it is.
Yeah, I also just looked it up. It's 25 minutes, which I do think is too long.
Yeah.
I think that is like, it's like a full like child's episode of like a TV show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 25 minutes. I
Yeah.
think that
Yep.
it's just like, I think if it were, and it would be hard to do, but I think if it were 3 songs that were like approximately like 3 to 4 minutes long, I think that then that's like perfect. But I think that it's kind of like you said, like I think that Festival of the Lion King feels like a Broadway show, but there's so much going on because
Yeah.
it's essentially like Cirque du Soleil, like it's acrobatics,
Yeah.
where this is like wonderfully done puppets, but they're puppets. So I think that it's hard. But this is one I want to watch again because I do think it's funny how polarizing this new one
It is.
ended up being.
Well, like, and the people who did the music is the Lopez, whatever people that did the music for Frozen, and it's all like original music. So
Oh,
I
didn't
think
know that.
that it's just, again, like either you love this, like you said, Haley, or you don't. But I do think that I'd want to give it like another try because I do think when we saw it, it was the first
Oh,
kind of
that's
time where they
true.
brought it back. It was like a preview where it wasn't actually back. So maybe there were some kinks or stuff
And
wasn't fully there. And
I
I
was
think
gonna say
that
there were some kinks that time too, because
Yeah,
there
they
was
had to
times they
restart.
restarted and stuff.
so maybe
that
that's it
added to
too.
it.
But we'll have to try it out
yeah,
again.
this is one. Yeah, we'll have to bookmark this and then I'll
Yeah.
circle back and decide
For sure.
again.
All ratings are subject to adjustment. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. The last land that I don't know that we'll be able to talk about this land maybe ever again after the
seriously.
next couple episodes. But it is Dinoland USA. And the first one that I'm going to, there's only 3 here, and one was a bit of a stretch. The first place is Triceratops Spin,
I don't know, 11.
Yeah, 15.
10.
20.
Which one is this? Is it
It's
like
the one that's
little
like Dumbo.
mouse car?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
it's
the
okay,
Dumbo.
okay.
The other
It's
one
like
is
the little
gone.
yeah, that's what I couldn't. What's the other one called? Hester and
Rem-
Chester. It's like
Primeval Whirl.
or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're both like spin themed names. I think that's why I got it confused. But
Yeah. Primeval
Yeah.
Whirl was like a mousetrap, right?
Primeval
Yeah.
World
Yeah.
felt like a carnival ride, and we went
Yeah, they
on it,
put up
and
in a
I
day.
thought I was like, oh, let's do it. I was so hyped about it, and then we went on, and I was frightened for my life.
Yeah.
I think that's like Goofy's Sky School in Disneyland.
well, Goofy Sky School had like 65-minute wait
All the
yesterday at
time.
DCA.
I know.
Now I have beef with Chester and Hester's Dino-Rama in general. Like I think it was like poorly thought out. It's an interesting idea. I think it was like kind of poorly executed and feels so out of place as like these carnival
Yeah.
attractions and rides. And yeah, like if you get on even a mousetrap coaster at Walt Disney World, you don't want it to feel like, it's at your local carnival in like the parking lot of
And I think Triceratops Spin feels the same way. It
Yeah.
feels like what you would get in like like you said, like a traveling carnival. And I also think that this area was so weird because it feels so un-Disney because most of the things in there you have to pay money for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the whole bit is that like you pay money to get into Disney, and then really other than like food and stuff, like the ride, it's not like a carnival where you're paying per ticket.
Yeah.
But then you go here and like you want to win a prize, well, you've got to like fork over some
Okay.
cash.
And
Like,
I like some of the designs, like even the little Triceratops cars that you get in for this one, I think are like
They're
cute
cute.
and fun, and Chester and Hester are cute. But it's not if the rest of the land was like a storybook circus where it
Mhm.
was like
A
targeted
carnival.
at younger kids, or even and you could bring in the carnival like that, but it all just feels so weirdly slapped together. And then they're just asking you for more money, which feels icky all the time.
and it's like put in the back of the park where it would feel like this was something made to like kind of like gobble up some crowds. And it doesn't do that at all.
At
Like
all.
if you
it doesn't
don't want to set foot into Chester and Hester's, it is so easy to avoid, and you can get to everything else in the park
Yeah.
without it.
Yeah, and I just think again, out of all, like we've kind of talked about how Animal Kingdom, like every area is very Animal Kingdom. This is like by far and away the least. Like this is like a roadside carnival that's been set up, and I even feel like you feel the difference like between this and like a dinosaur. Like it's not even the same thing at all to me, and I just think that it's just not well executed. Like I do like the games. I think that they're fun, but I wouldn't do it every time. And I do think that it is expensive. If you didn't win a prize and you had to
Yeah.
buy tickets, it's like, oh, we just spent easily $12 to $18 on tickets and didn't win anything. So I think
You could have
that's
just
also
gone and
tough.
bought the stuffy.
Yeah, the stuffy.
Yeah.
So I think that it just, again, I don't love the necessary or like the like replacement that they've kind of teased. I don't love that, but I do think that this area just kind of is very much extinct.
It feels it feels weird that they went with like cartoon, because everything else is like very much like real dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Like real, like even if this was like a paleontology dig site, and then they could have done some of the
Better.
same, like the right things, but like it was so weird to make it so cartoony.
Yep.
And even like Donald's Dino Bash, super cartoony. Like it all went like this, like very like
Yeah, and Restaurantosaurus rocks. Like, and
Yeah.
the theming behind it is cool. Like, just do all that. I don't know.
yeah. It feels like they like, I don't know, the person who designed the rest of Dinoland USA quit, and then they like just like found the next person to like they were like, hey, we have all of this area, like design something for it, and they like totally went in a different direction.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, Joe Rohde, why did you do this? Oh, like it wasn't me, it was Larry who we just
Exactly.
From accounting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, actually, I went on vacation for 3 weeks, and when I came back, it was finished, and this is
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But the next part of that I have that I don't even know if it should be considered, but I did include the boneyard. Otherwise, Dinoland is kind of sparse. But it's that playground area when you're walking in and you go underneath like that big kind of
15,
bones.
15, because I can't go.
Yeah, same 15.
Yeah, like 12.
I think I would give it like a 25. I think for kids, it looks like an awesome place, and it looks like big and detailed, which I like. And I think every park has one of those where like kids can kind of just go and play and roam. And this one is enclosed, which I would feel much better about as a parent,
Yeah.
True.
like being able to
Sure.
see the in and out
The boundaries
of
yeah.
where my child is playing.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of like the look of it. Like, I think it's cool that it's there. I think it feels more like in line with Restaurantosaurus and the Dino Institute than
Yeah.
Chester and Hester's, which I think is a plus. But yeah, just personally, no real appeal for me at this current point in my life.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see like once you have kids and stuff, like if we'll ever actually like use the park. Like I want to test it out and see like how that
Yeah,
goes,
'cause-
and just to actually see, because it's like you can't as an adult just go in there, obviously.
No way.
Bring your kid in and be like, let's go and check this out. They're like, no, I don't want to go. Yeah, we're going. To like see how it is and see if it's like worth it and stuff. I feel like it'd be a good place, like if you have kids who just need to lose some energy and kind of like run around for a little bit and kind of get it out of there. But I'll be interested to see like when we have kids and actually go, like, is that going to be like something that's like constantly used by us, or if there's going to be like, if it's just going to be not, you know?
Yeah, like I think that it's one of those things. I think that people get so on because this is like the new thing that's come out is that new like Dumbo thing. Have you guys like seen that? It's like the
Oh, the
Smellephants.
sensory. Yeah.
Yeah, Smellephants on parade. Everybody
I
goes,
saw that.
Oh,
this
yeah.
is so dumb, but it's not for us. It's
Yeah.
Right.
for children.
It's
And I
still
think
an
this
it's
this
still
kind
a-
of stuff,
yeah.
like Disney has to have this kind of stuff. So I'll be interested what they kind of do maybe in this area, like or somewhere else where it is this, because I do think this is a good place to let kids go and just let out some energy and not have to wait in line and then come back to the
Like then-
stroller, have a nap,
Yeah.
and then go do
Come
something
back
else.
And there's
Everything.
always kids in it. So clearly parents are using it, and like families are
Yeah.
using these areas, because it's not like they're like you go by and there's like a dust bowl rolling
Yeah, no,
around, a
exactly.
tumbleweed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that brings us to our last one. And this one is a sad one, I think. This one is Dinosaur.
96.
95.
85.
95. Oh, Buck also
Yeah,
agrees.
Buck
He
agrees.
is outraged
Mid-90s
that
for Buck as well.
that it's going away. Do you want to take this? You're a
Yeah,
resident dinosaur
I'll do a
lover.
little bit of a spiel. Yeah, I mean, I just think that it's like such an underappreciated ride for how unique it is. I think it brings like a sense of like danger almost, and it doesn't do it kind of in a traditional way at a theme park where it would just be like a faster, tall roller coaster. But it kind of brings that like discomfort that we were talking about with Tough to Be a Bug. So I get why it kind of is off-putting for some people, but I think that's so unique and like kind of hard to capture even. And I think that it like combines, the kind of thrill of the animatronics who have definitely gone, through disrepair and have aged quite poorly. But like, there's like moments where, when that Carnosaurus or whatever is coming at you, you're like, that thing's alive. Like, it's coming for me. Like, we got to get out of here. And it like builds tension so effectively with like the impending meteor shower, and even like kind of like the story that they throw at it to tie it into, the 2000 movie Dinosaur or whatever. We're like, oh, we're going back to save this dino. Like, that's kind of fun. You see him at the end. And
Mhm.
I just think it's so unique and it's got so many thrills. And I actually just watched the behind the attraction on the Indiana Jones like similar one on on Disneyland, and like the ride vehicle is so cool and so unique, and I had no idea that it was so involved as well. And I just think I think it's like one of those things where once it's gone, if it's not replaced by a comparable attraction, I think people are going to be like, oh man, we didn't know how good we had it. Dinosaur, was a lot of fun. It was really unique and really cool.
And this is one of the ones that I think we talk about when we talk about Soarin', where you can tell that it's old and aged, but it is good. Like that's the one where like the vibe of it is like a nostalgic old, where like when you're in the little room and you're being briefed and then he like cracks the code and like you're in on like a little inside joke with like Dr. Seeker. I think that that's like such a fun part. And I think that this one, even though we are notoriously pre-show haters, this is a pre-show that I would want to watch every single time. And so I think that even if the animatronics are like a bit outdated, I think it's aged so well that it is such a shame that they're rolling it in, not even with anything new. They're just coming in and putting a carbon copy of what's in Disneyland. Allegedly, it makes me very sad.
Yeah, like I just think this is my nostalgia factor of like a Disney attraction where like I know that I probably, again, this is like not one of those things that like everybody loves, but this is one to me where I don't even care that stuff doesn't work properly. I don't care that it's old. I think it's so good. I love the pre-show so much. I love just everything of how there is so much going on at every moment where like the vehicle's moving and there's like a pterodactyl screaming and like everybody else is like afraid. I just think that it's so good. Like, and Tommy, like along the lines of you thinking that it's coming to life. I like every time that there's like the photo, I'm like genuinely afraid because I do think like that's actually going to get me. And my picture every time is me looking like afraid because I just think it's so good. I do love the vehicle. Like I think that it's a perfect thing for that ride. I love how like it moves. I just think it's a really fun, different thing that Disney World doesn't have. Like it's not like a traditional roller coaster or like a ride. Like it's very different and moves very different, which I appreciate.
Yeah, it is very different and I think it's very cool. I feel like I rated it the lowest out of all of us, but I still like really, really love it and I'm sad that it's going. And I just always think too, like I guess I rated it lower because I'm like, I know you guys all are talking about how the nostalgia and the fact that it's old and stuff is like so cool, which I agree, and it's like it makes it funny and adds to the ride. But if they like kept the ride but like changed the animatronics, like now they can make dinosaurs that look like they're actually
real
live.
Oh yeah,
and that would be like next level when I think about that. Like imagine you're going through and they look like the dinosaurs like walking or stuff. Like
well, because I think that you've said
so
this
cool.
before, Tommy, where that dinosaur that's like this eating was like a revolutionary, insanely thing back in the day. And now it's like we have things like the shaman, but that's still so cool how they had that and how we still do. But I just think it's awesome.
Yeah, I saw a video of like the early 2000s and that scene itself is so much more dynamic and like engaging. And now they're really limping to the finish. There's like not a lot of movement to them. But yeah, like when it was up and running and the joints were fully lubricated, it was like totally believable. You're like, oh my God, that's an animal eating another animal.
Yeah,
it has so many joints.
Yeah,
it can
so
move
many
around
joints
so well.
and hinges. But no, it's cool. Yeah, it's conceptually so strong too. It's just,
you may see the four of us chained to dinosaur when that time comes outside. So,
and I don't want to see anybody who didn't go wait for it and do it saying we miss it when you weren't riding it, because this is the reason why it's going away.
Or the ones that were like cheering when they were saying they're getting rid of Dino Land. Don't be upset when you're just getting what's his name? Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I don't. I'm
unless
not
Harrison Ford's in the ride, don't bring it here.
I'm sniffing that one out. That's a red herring. It's going to be something cool. It's going to be something cool. I think they're going to roll out something much more interesting,
like an Encanto thing. Just put it all Encanto.
I don't even know if it's going to be Encanto. I think that it's going to be. I think it's going to be more in line with the stuff like Frozen and Zootopia that we're seeing at the parks in Asia. I think it's going to be at this point. Like I think that's why it's been like radio silent since whenever the most recent. Kind of Blue Sky or whatever they call it announcements have been. I think it's going to be
dreamers can dream.
Yeah,
can't
I
wait.
think it's going to be.
Well, we're all going to know. All of us will be the first to know.
And if they don't do anything, we'll say, "What about Animal Kingdom?"
What's happening to Dinosaur?
They have to. Josh D'Amaro is going to come out and say, "Have we got a lot for you?" That's what I hope.
He'll just have a little pet dinosaur following him, little animatronic.
And they'll be like, "We're actually keeping Dinosaur and putting these new lifelike dinosaurs." And I'd be like, "Yeah,
It'll just be like a real Jurassic Park where they've just actually figured out how to bring them back. This is
Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wanted danger. We'll give you danger.
Yeah.
I feel like that was our highest rated park, which is
Yeah,
very
yeah.
surprising.
Quality
I feel like
over
really we
quantity.
had like 2 that were on the lower end, and then everything else was like really high.
No, I think like the top, like 5 or whatever, Animal Kingdom is like pound for pound by far the strongest. I think it just doesn't have that depth of like the medium rides. I think it just has
That's
like
what
the
I
big
think.
ones, and
Yeah.
that's why it's hard to go to later in the day because the lines are so long. I mean, like when you look in Dinosaur has a 60-minute wait, it's like, oh boy, like this is tough. And
Yeah.
that's what I feel like. Yeah, they're all the rides. Like I ride them like awesome. They're all like kind of they would all be in my top 10.
Yeah, but that was awesome, and I think that wraps up our rating the parks. That was a
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
ride as it goes.
Yeah.
But if you agree or disagree, make sure you let us know. We can leave a box in our
Oh, yeah.
Spotify and let us know what your favorite attraction is. If you want to or agree with us, you can let us know in the comments, or you can send us a DM. We can be found at the Park Squad Pod, literally anywhere you want to find
Yeah.
us. It is YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Find us at all of those things. Make sure that you leave us a review. Those 5-star reviews really help us out. And on Apple Podcasts, if you want to leave a written review, we go over kind of our specs
Yeah.
and see if we've added any new countries every week before we start recording. So it's super fun. If you want to say hi and give us a little love in there, we'd love and appreciate that. But as always, thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you, and thanks for being part of the squad.
Long live Dinosaur.
Yes, please. Hello there.